Hello and welcome. You're watching Hindustan Times. The European Union is strengthening its ties with partners around the world as tensions in transatlantic relations grow under the Trump presidency. On Tuesday, Brussels took a major step in that direction by signing a free trade agreement with India. DW correspondent Chiponda Chimbelu joins us from Berlin to get us more on this deal. Chiponda, good to see you. How significant is this EU-India free trade agreement from Brussels' POV?
It is very significant. Now, the EU is India's biggest trading partner, and India is the bloc's 11th biggest trading partner. So this deal will lift trade restrictions for the 2 billion people living in both the European Union and India. And that is why the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen called this free trade agreement with India the mother of all deals. Now, this is, of course, a response to the current global environment where we've seen, of course, the US tariffs, and also we've seen more export restrictions from China. Now, all of that has been bringing the EU and India closer. But the deal does go beyond trade. Brussels and Delhi also announced a defense and security partnership on Tuesday. So there's a lot more going on there. But this deal will still need to be ratified. And it isn't, of course, the only one that the EU has been working on.
Also, which other trade deals has the EU been working on?
Well, there is the European Union's free trade agreement with Latin America, the Mercosur trade deal, which was signed on January 17, which, of course, has also been in the news here. However, that agreement has now hit another roadblock after 25 years of negotiations. The European Parliament is yet to formally vote on the deal. That is because last week on Wednesday, EU legislators voted to send parts of that agreement to the European Court of Justice for a legal check. Now, while the free trade agreement with the Mercosur countries in Latin America does have support, there are also a lot of critics here in Europe, especially among the farming community. There is a fear among farmers that Europe could be overflooded with cheaper and less regulated agricultural products from Latin America. So, of course, while the EU is looking to deepen ties with other partners, getting those deals done isn't easy.
Also, what more should we expect as Brussels pushes to definitely diversify its global partnerships?
The European Union already has preferential trade agreements with 76 countries, and it is considering joining the so-called Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership. Now, that is, of course, a free trade bloc of a dozen Asia-Pacific countries and the UK. And there is also, of course, the free trade agreement with Australia that has been in negotiations for years already. But there have been disagreements over concerns about agricultural products there, much like the opposition that we've seen to the Mercosur deal with Latin America. And that hasn't been the case for the deal with India. For that, there was more concern in India, where agriculture is a major employer. Still, of course, the EU-India free trade agreement does show that the old global trading order is gone, and the realignment is happening with the EU pushing for new partnerships with new regions, with other regions and countries.
All right, Chiponda, thank you so much for that report from Berlin.